Hello everybody, back here again for our vlog a day, and today is Wednesday the 13th, and today was a lovely, beautiful day. Got this morning, got a few things taken care of, all the good fun that comes with that. I was able to get in to the clinic, the little $5 clinic, I guess, whatever it's supposed to be like. I don't know. Every time I go there, we have a insurance program that basically is a deal that we pay $5. Every time I go there, it's either 20, 25, or 30. They quote me, I then tell them no, it's supposed to be 5, and then they proceed to tell me no, it's supposed to be 30, and then I'm like, no, it's supposed to be 5. So we argue back and forth a little bit. Not really argue, we just discuss back and forth because I keep very calm about it, and often have to like call my wife to get some kind of weird code word or the thing, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. And then I'm like, nope, it's 5. She's like, no, it's not. And I'm like, you're looking at the wrong place. This is not you think you know what you're talking about, and it's not, because this is what we have. And she's like, well, it's supposed to be 30. I said, then why am I paying you 5? Because she finally found it. She'd be like, okay, it's 5. And I'm like, okay, then why do you, every time here, you guys trying to overcharge me? Because the rest of the clients, the rest of the employees, I guess not clients, the rest of the employees at my wife's company, like, they're all, a lot of them are probably going to argue with it. They're just going to be like, screw it, just pay the $30. And you guys are stealing $25 from them, and that's ridiculous. So I asked my wife, she goes, well, it's supposed to be 30. I said, then why am I paying 5? If it's supposed to be 30, why am I paying 5? And then she just put her head down, got kind of pissy about it. And I'm like, well, why are you being rude? Like, every time I come here, you get this wrong. Just figure it out in your system so I don't have to keep, arguing with you on this every time and basically discussing it. But it is what it is. So I got in, got my shoulder looked at, my back, whatever that stabbing mark is. They gave me some antibiotics, I don't know the hell it was and stuff. And the number one biggest thing in it, it says, do not go in the sun. And I'm like, I'm outside all day, every day. Like, I'm outside all the time. Like, I'm going on a cruise, I'm going to be even that much more in the sun. I'm like, this is ridiculous. So that's not going to happen. But went ahead and started taking it. Hopefully I can get it under control. The infection is not really growing, but it's getting darker red, and it's making me nervous, and it itches like crazy. It's absolutely horrendous. So we'll see. Hopefully it gets it taken care of. I got that done. Waited around for the prescription to get filled. It didn't take that long. It's right next door, so I was able to pick it up. That worked out really well for me. Got back to the house, hung out with the dogs and stuff, chilled out there. I skipped the hot tub because I wondered if, like, with the injury on my back and stuff, that little where that puncture wound was, if that's an issue causing me problems. So I thought, well, I'll stay out of the tub a little bit, see how that works. But yeah, it is what it is there. So got back here to the house, went across the street, started doing some work over there, borrowed a tool from my neighbor. He also then told me, the neighbor that's been working at my house doing my drywall work and stuff, and also told me he's COVID positive, and I was around him recently, and I'm like, son of a bitch, I got a cruise coming up, I don't need this. Yeah, so basically asked me if I could borrow his rotary hammer to test out, see how hard the tiles come up, because they want a lot of money to take the tile out. Like, it's a ridiculous amount of money. The guy wants like $500 a day, whatever, and he thinks it's 2 days, plus I got to rent the equipment and stuff, and it's gonna add up quick. And I'm like, holy crap, they want $3,500 to put down tongue and groove floating floor. Like, that seems like a lot also. Like, he's like, well, it's probably gonna take me 2 days. And I'm like, first off, it might take you 2 days, but you're worth $1,700 a day. Like, how the hell is that possible? It doesn't make sense. But okay, we'll see. But yeah, so I got a feeling I'm gonna put it in myself, but I wanted to test the rotary hammer before I went and bought one. I'm not big on using other people's tools. I hate it. I've got it, like my uncle and stuff. I borrow like his skid steer and stuff that I know they take really good care of, and if stuff breaks, they're like, yeah, things break, let's just, if it's like a hose blows, then that's something that's just like, they kind of know a hose blow, and like, it was probably gonna blow up on them, and they're actually thankful it happened when you have it, because then when they need it, when they're working on the farm, it's already fixed. So it's one of those things where it's not that big a deal. But some people are like, if something breaks, like my grandfather, who, I broke a come along one time, and I'm like, hey, bringing him back to come along, I went, instead of taking the time to drive by like Harbor Freight and get another cheap come along what he has, I went to the only farm like fleet type, Orscheln's. It's a farm and home type place there, Tractor Supply type place, and paid $80 more for the good come along than what I could have got Harbor Freight. But I didn't want to hand him back a broken tool and then have to wait, it might be a week before I go all the way up to Des Moines to get a new one. So I went and bought the $80 more tool, handed it back to him and stuff and whatever, and he's like, okay, and didn't even like, hey, thanks for the new tool, because I knew he would never let me hear the end of it. Then come to find out, he'd broken that come along like 4 different times and would weld it back himself. Didn't tell me that part. And then I was like, holy crap. So my grandma goes, oh, I guess your welding holds you out to weld it again. And I'm like, so you let me buy you a new tool that was over $100 that should have cost me $30, whatever, kind of thing. You let me buy you that, and then didn't say, no, keep that yourself, whatever, blah, blah. But yet you then re-welded it, and then I was like, okay, what the hell? So a few months goes by, I don't know, probably 5-6 months. I head back over there. I need to borrow a come along again. And I'm like, no big deal. I get there. I'm like, hey, you know, I need to borrow a come along. Got it. And I'm looking at stuff. And I can see my brand new one hanging up on the wall. Brand new, never been used. It's a very nice piece of equipment that I guess it had been used once because I bought it to finish the job I was doing when I broke his. And he then is looking around for the one he's re-welded again. And I'm like, what the hell? He's going to hand me? He won't hand me the new one, the one I bought, the one that's only been used by me the one time. And he won't hand that back to me and loan it to me. And he's like, well, I can't sell him. Like, it's right there. And he's like, oh, no. And he looks around. And he finally hands me the broken one. He finally finds it. And I'm like, you're giving me the one that you've welded now 4 times? And then if I break it, I owe you another new one? Like, no, I'm good, man. Just keep it. I'm like, I already bought one new one that I don't have. I'm not going to keep replacing your, you know, come-alongs with new ones when you don't weld them correctly. And he looked at me and I'm thinking, give me the one over there because now I know that you've already broke that one before. And he's just like, okay, well, good luck. And I was like, what the fuck? So at that point, I said hell with it, and I ended up saying pissed on it. I put off my job a little bit, went to Des Moines, picked up the cheaper ones. I had buying 2 of them at Harbor Freight, so I'd have a secondary backup in case the cheaper one did break, and still spent less than what I spent on the one that I gave him. And I was just like, really? That's how it is? And that's how I see a lot of people around me with their tools. So I don't like using your tools because if I'm going to break something, I want to break my own, and that way I can just get it 3 place through warranty if it's new, or at least I now broke my own tool and it's already been paid for. I hate breaking somebody's tool, not being able to finish my project, buying them a brand new one and hand it back to them, then act like they don't want to loan it to me because now it's a new tool and they don't care. They don't want to take a risk of damaging their new tool. I'm like, but you gave me the old shitty one that was almost broke. So that's who I am. So I borrowed his tool for a little bit, broke up a bunch of tiles in the house, realized it worked fairly well. And I'm like, cool, they didn't do that great job putting the tiles down and stuff, so it won't be that hard to get out, and ordered a new tool. So it was like Prime Day, Amazon Prime Day thing, so I ordered a new rotary hammer. Instead of doing the cordless, which he has, I actually bought the one with the cord just because I didn't want to deal with the battery systems. And the battery system, DeWalt that I have, I didn't want to pay the $400, I think it was $400 for that tool, just the tool alone. So I have to buy, you know, more batteries and stuff, and it goes through batteries pretty well, and da-da-da. So I didn't want to spend the $400. So I bought one that was super cheap, but a plug-in style. It's a little heavier, it's going to be harder on my body, but I don't plan using it that much. So it's worth the money there. Bought some new Spade Blitz, would be here, I don't know, I think like Saturday. I'll be on the cruise right when I get here, so when I get back, I'll start, you know, working then. But got that ordered, got a couple of other things ordered on Prime Days, which was nice. The guy who was supposed to be here yesterday to measure the floor, no call, no show, just completely skipped out the whole time for our appointment time. He did hit me up at like 5:30, 6 o'clock, something like that, probably, I don't know what time it was, and said, hey, man, I broke my phone and and I had to go get this. I'm like, okay, whatever, I don't care. So he's like, well, he kind of hinted like, we can do it right now. I'm like, I'm just sitting down for dinner. So like, no, we're not doing it. So I went ahead and he's like, I'll do it tomorrow. I'm like, okay, 1:30, whatever, he's supposed to be over here. 11 o'clock, a little bit before 11, he, you know, basically calls me and tells me he can come measure the house. And I'm like, yeah, why not? I'll meet you over there. So other dogs got dropped off. It was all good to go. So I walked across the street, was over there doing stuff with the dogs. He got there and just has that weird, you know, you meet the people who like seem like they're full of shit. Like just, they're constantly going, just making up stories. Like he used to, you know, I don't know, there's the whole thing. He ran all the, you know, East Coast Home Depots and stuff. I'm like, really? You're not that old and you managed all the East Coast Home Depots? Like that doesn't make sense. And now you're driving a crappy van installing floors. It doesn't make sense. So he was running around like maybe he's clean. I don't know. It came off as like a dude who's like still on meth. Like he's just twitchy, like just running around crazy. I tried to ask him some questions and he started to answer one question and starts answering another question. I'm like, what would you do if this was your house? Well, dude, I'd do this. And I'm like, okay, I'm about taking the tile out, floating out the level sealer instead and stuff. And I was like, I don't care, man. Just tell me what you want to do and stuff. And then the estimate was just, it was ridiculous. The whole thing coming through. It was crazy stuff. So after he left is when I said, hell, then we borrowed the tool from my buddy and started breaking up the tiles. And I'm just like, yeah, I gotta give this a try. So we went ahead, got that done. Got just all the fun with it. The dogs didn't really, you know, they were having fun running in the backyard and stuff. Got back to the house, played with the dogs a little bit, gotta be all, you know, taken care of. Decided to go for my run, got my run in. It was just pouring down rain. Running in the rain's always fun for me. I don't know, I kind of like it. I like running in the rain, especially now I don't have to wear glasses. It makes my life so much easier. Since I had LASIK surgery, I actually enjoy running in the rain quite a bit. So keeps me cooler. I don't overheat and stuff this time of year, especially. So got that taken care of. Got back to the house, got cleaned up, hung out with the dogs again. Ended up having myself a nice little dinner, watched a little bit of TV. DVD player broke. So I don't have Netflix on my living room TV anymore. So now we're doing watching DVDs and stuff, which isn't a problem. I swapped in another DVD player, but it doesn't have the Netflix and stuff on it. So I ordered a new DVD player as well. Won't be here till like the 19th. I don't know why. Amazon usually doesn't ship that slow, but it's really slow getting here. But it does Prime, it does YouTube, it does Hulu and all that stuff. And my one just did Netflix. It did, and then like some weird like other stuff that doesn't exist anymore, some other apps that had. But this thing's got a bunch of stuff it can do. So I'm excited about getting it in, finally getting it set up. I told my mom, I'm like, hey, we're gonna be on the cruise when it shows up. So just put stuff in the back room, whatever, not a big deal. But if you want, bringing the DVD player I hooked up, I couldn't find a remote. I've been through like 2 moves and stuff, and it's just basically put in a DVD, put in like Good Will Hunting and push play, put in, Dead Poet Society, push play kind of stuff. It's not really a like watch Sopranos season 6 episode 4. Like that's not the one. I don't have a remote. So I told her, I said, you watch that kind of stuff, so why don't we swap this out since I don't have a remote for that? And she goes, no, I don't have a big deal. I'm like, okay, you're going to be like, we're gone for a week, so all you're going to be able to do is push play and stop. That's all you can do, and pause, I guess, technically. You won't be able to go to menus, you won't be able to look at special features, you won't be able to skip a chapter, any that kind of stuff. Like, all you'll have is play, pause, and stop. That's it. And she's like, I don't need it. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I left that alone, went ahead, had dinner, came back out with the dogs, hung out here, had myself a nice little cigar, got a nice little fire going. I love a good fire. I've had a fire going now, big one. It was actually burning hard enough that it burned through the rainstorm. It was pretty cool. So it kept a nice little smoldering log, and it has that nice campfire smell. You wake up in the morning, there's just a little bit of smoke going all day long. It's just such a great feeling. I love that. I got giant logs in the back of the pine tree I cut down a handful of years ago, and then I bought some firewood from a guy a few years back, and then I also got some giant live oak that a guy was cutting out, and these pieces are so big it's hard for me to roll them around. They're so big. But I get a nice little fire going, get a nice little ember going and stuff, and I'll chuck one of those big ass pieces on our roll there and flip it on top of the fire, and man, they'll just smolder for sometimes 3 to 5 days, sometimes a week. It's awesome. So chuck in some small stuff every once in a while at night to get a nice little flame, nice little look, and then watch it just smolder all day long again. It's always a great time. So yeah, that's all I got for right now. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Have yourself a safe, wonderful day. Thanks for watching.